So when it comes to microservices versus monoliths, the main thing that hits me is how much more complex it can be to deploy a bunch of little services rather than one big chunk.
Yeah, but it's like trying to move a house full of stuff versus moving just your laptop. The question is what you need for day-to-day use.
True, but have you seen some of those CI and CD pipelines? It's like herding cats. Each service needs its own pipeline, and coordinating them all can drive you mad.
Oh man, I remember that time we had to roll back because one service didn't update properly. That was fun.
Exactly. And don't get me started on monitoring. You've got so many moving parts. Figuring out where a bug lives can be like finding a needle in a haystack.
Not to mention the logs. Trying to correlate events across different services feels like solving a mystery novel without any clues.
Agreed. Plus, think about the learning curve. Developers need to understand distributed systems, network issues, load balancing, stuff they might not care about in a monolithic setup.
But hey, at least no one gets bored. There's always something new to figure out.
Sure, there's excitement in the unknown, but let's face it, simplicity has its charm too. Monoliths may lack elegance, but they're straightforward.
True enough. Though sometimes having everything together means one mistake could bring down the whole system.
Absolutely true. Balancing complexity and robustness is key here. With microservices, you get isolation, which helps with resilience, but boy, does it come with challenges.
Definitely feels like trading convenience for flexibility.
Speaking of challenges, let's talk about scalability. In a monolith, you're often stuck scaling the entire application, even if only one part needs more resources.
Right. It's like upgrading an old computer by replacing every component just because the CPU is slow.
Exactly. Whereas with microservices, you can scale individual services independently based on their specific load. It gives you much finer control over resource allocation.
That sounds great, in theory. But coordinating all those independent scales must be a headache.
Absolutely. It introduces its own set of complexities. You need sophisticated orchestration tools and deep understanding of each service's behavior under different loads.
Like knowing exactly how to tune each instrument in an orchestra to make sure the symphony sounds right.
Precisely. Now, near. And then there's the issue of state management. In a monolithic app, managing shared state is simpler because everything is in one place. With microservices, distributed state management can become quite intricate.
Yeah. Passing data around without losing track of anything seems like walking a tightrope while juggling flaming torches.
Ah, that image sums it up well. Still, the ability to scale horizontally by adding more instances of specific services can be incredibly powerful for handling spikes in demand.
Especially when certain parts of your system are way busier than others. It would be inefficient to scale everything uniformly.
True, and this targeted approach can lead to significant cost savings as well. You don't pay for excess capacity that isn't needed.
Makes sense. Although setting it all up initially feels like building a castle out of sand on a windy day.
The initial setup and ongoing maintenance definitely require some serious expertise and planning, but once it's done right, the benefits in terms of flexibility and efficiency are hard to ignore. Another big difference is the impact of service isolation in microservices versus a unified codebase in monoliths. In microservices, each service operates independently, which can really help isolate issues.
True. If one service goes down, it doesn't necessarily take the whole system with it. It's like having firewalls between rooms to stop a fire from spreading.
Exactly. This isolation also means that teams can work on their services relatively independently without stepping on each other's toes too much. No more waiting for someone else to finish their part before you can test yours.
That's a huge plus. But coordinating updates and ensuring consistency across services sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Definitely adds another layer of complexity. You need robust APIs and thorough testing strategies to ensure everything works seamlessly together. But the isolation also means that changes in one area won't accidentally break things elsewhere.
Right. Kind of like working in silos, but with clear communication channels to keep everyone aligned.
Precisely. And in a monolithic architecture, any change can potentially affect the entire system, leading to longer integration cycles and more cautious development practices.
Which is why sometimes rolling out new features feels like crawling through molasses instead of sprinting forward.
Exactly. The trade-off is between the freedom and speed you get with isolated services versus the potential chaos of interconnected components in a monolith.
Yeah, it's all about finding the right balance based on what your team can handle and what your project demands.
Speaking of isolation, let's talk about fault tolerance. In microservices, isolated failures can be contained within a single service, whereas in a monolith, an issue can cascade into system-wide problems.
Right. It's like having a leaky faucet versus a burst pipe in the basement. One is annoying, but the other floods the whole house.
Exactly. Then, when one microservice fails, others can continue operating normally. This containment helps maintain overall system stability and reliability.
But catching those leaks early must be tricky. If you miss it, the small issues can add up quickly.
True, especially since diagnosing and fixing isolated issues requires robust monitoring and logging mechanisms. Every service should report its health status clearly so you can spot trouble spots fast.
Like having multiple smoke detectors instead of one big alarm that goes off everywhere.
Precisely. Now, on RNE, Minisdehimne. On the flip side, in a monolithic architecture, a single failure can propagate throughout the entire application. A bug in one module could bring down everything if not handled carefully.
Which is why it feels like walking on eggshells sometimes. Every line of code could be the next domino to fall.
Absolutely. The cascading effect can be devastating, leading to widespread downtime and loss of functionality until the root cause is identified and fixed.
So with microservices, you're basically compartmentalizing risks to limit damage.
Exactly. By isolating services, you reduce the likelihood of catastrophic failures and improve overall system resilience.